Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're knitting, relaxing, and I thought I will start with a story of a goof up that I might have to frog a bit backwards on this tea on. This is the Villapesutee, which is designed by a Finnish podcaster couple, Villapesutee. I'll link it below. And they're in Finnish. And they have a nice recipe for a tea. Very simple, very elegant. My mother-in-law has made 2 and they're beautiful. And I joined in, and this was an August challenge. I've talked about this before. And like I normally do, I do a bit of, tweaking the pattern to my I know how my body is, so I kind of change it here and there. So once I had done this from top to the part where we can connect this neckline here, I decided that, hey, I need a bit of shaping for the front. I was already happy with the kind of width of the shirt. Oh no, I can't reach can you see where the back part of it is? And I thought this is enough. It doesn't need to be any wider. But then I thought, it's kind of nice to have a bit of a shape in the front. So I added some stitches. And each of these markers here is a raglan increase, one on the right side and one on the left side of the marker, which there's 10 here, and 10 here means 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. And little did I think of that's altogether 40, which is not that much, hey? But then how much is that as width? I think I need to do something about this. It's more than a gape or something. It's like I could fly with this shirt. I think the drape of the fabric won't be enough to kind of cover for this goof up once I'm done. So I think I need to go back a little. I love the yarn. It's the Mohair, concept by Katia, how do you say it? I'll put it down below. And their Mohair something. I'll put even the color code down below. But as you can tell, I probably do need to do something about this. So, welcome. It's Saturday evening. It's getting a bit dark, so I opened the curtains and I hope the light is going to be okay. I shot the earlier piece quite some hours ago because I already did the Finnish episode after that. So first I shot the same thing in Finnish, then in English, the short thingy. And then I did quite a long of an episode in Finnish, and I did like 2 hours of searching how to download that to my laptop or whatnot. But anyhow, here we are. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're sitting down. I hope you're knitting. I hope you are crafting. I hope you are in all those woolly things that you can be, and just kind of relax. What happened, other than the fact that this shirt that I was telling you about, which is from the Villapesutee, this is a Finnish podcast, and I know that even though quite a few of the people probably who are listening in English at some point, historically down the line, if you're looking in from 2024, this was 2021, and this was what we were doing ages ago, okay? But anyhow, I'm sorry for the background noise. I do have a family, and they do not mind, nor do they care if I'm doing something that should be, they remember for the first 2 minutes. After that, they won't. But anyhow, back to this rambling. That shirt is wonderful, and I know it's going to be wonderful. And this podcast is, I think, one of the most, if not the most, famous Finnish knitting podcast. And last Friday or Friday before that, it was the Friday before that, I had a long week. And Friday got really long. And then I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays currently. So, and I think it was something like 11 p.m. and I open my computer and I see that this Villapesutee has posted their latest podcast and it's an hour and 30 minutes. And I was just so pooped and I thought, okay, I'll watch the first 10 minutes. And okay, I need to go back to something before this. Why am I speaking in English is that I have extended family and friends all over, the knitting friends, you, all over the globe. And then also I know that in Finland we have quite a few people who do not speak Finnish. And I'm hoping to also get them involved in this knitting community of ours. So if language is a barrier, I want to break that language barrier and bring you into our community. So also please, 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 if you're in Finland, you don't speak Finnish, just kind of leave a comment or something and let's figure out how we can have like at least a remote knit nights or something together. I really want to have everybody who's knitting in this community because this community is great. So welcome, come into our community. You're welcome, that's what I'm trying to say. So anyhow, I'm watching their podcast and I had taken part in their August challenge of this, making this tea and putting some Ravelry notes in and a couple of hashtags used in Instagram. And they have so many people following them that I never think that they're going to draw my name. And it's like 5 minutes into their podcast and suddenly they say Lena's Day. And I'm like, what the heck? And then I had won a prize, a surprise prize from the August challenge. And then they pause the tape and they come back and they go, we think that she has started podcasting recently. And they keep saying that for a couple of minutes and repeating the name of the podcast. And suddenly, poof, now there are more than just my mother-in-law and my sister Hella and whatnot on the line. So welcome everyone. Really, if you are in Finland, please follow this Villapesutee because they are great at also keeping you up to date with everything that's going around in the knitting scene in Finland. They have monthly challenges this year with different yarn dyers, different companies, different knitting designers, whatnot. So just follow them and you'll be up to date. Okay, so inspired by all of this, the knitting community in Finland, there was also another podcast called Taijan Tekeleet, and I'll put it down below. And she listed a long list of old and new people who've started podcasting, knitting podcasting. And she mentioned that it's so fun to get new ones. And that's also something that's very inclusive, that the podcasters that have done it before are not just kind of saying, you know, we've done this, we don't need more. Everybody's invited. So that felt really nice. And I thought, what am I going to do with this? Because it's just so overwhelmingly fun to have this type of support and just the feeling of being part of the community. So I decided to have this one episode that I go through some of the things that knitters may enjoy as gifts to receive or to make or to put together. And at the end, I will also tell you about a surprise prize that I just pulled a name for in the Finnish podcast and will send out hopefully upcoming week. Okay, let's get started. So anyhow, I want to put together ideas that are great ideas as gifts for knitters or crafters, and they're also nice to give. And my first ones are, of course, stitch markers, because you can never have enough of them. You can never have enough of stitch markers. These are just commercial ones because I do not know how to make them. I have no idea how to make them, but they're cute and they're fun. And if you can make them, make them your own, because then they're just even more precious when somebody has made them. Then, for example, handmade tools like these wooden needles. These needles are from India, and this company Helmivene, maybe this way, Helmivene imports them to Finland, so it's helmivene.fi. And they also sell alpaca yarns and different kinds of crafting tools and whatnot. And I love these because when you're, for example, darning in the ends of yarn for a big shawl or something that's of thicker yarn or looser gauge, then you can actually use this. They're quite thick, so you do have to have a looser gauge to use these for, but then they're so nice and smooth and just kind of warm in your hands. So nice tools. And then what would you put these into when you're giving the gift? And I think this is the super cute thing. You can choose different tins. Go to your store, just grocery store or candy store, or keep your eyes open during the fall. Go to the flea markets and you can find different things. Like my husband just brought me this week from a flea market. And it's a tin that's quite thick. It's like more than half an inch. And then it closes up good and keeps the stuff, and you can actually put a pair of scissors and all kinds of things in here. You can buy these cardboard ones from some of the yarn stores that have those light metallic markers that don't weigh too much on your knitting if you just use them like in my shirt. You can see the 10 and the 10 and they don't weigh anything. Yeah, very light. And then in Finland we have some of these candies are in these kind of square boxes. They're quite thick. You can fit different kinds of things in there, but it's a bit challenging because it's a square, so maybe you don't fit in the scissors, but maybe you don't need to. Or you can have these like tea tins from England, or this is a side of a deck of cards, a tin also from some crafting store. Or if your friend drinks wine, maybe you can give them like a box of coasters. And if you'd like, you can just tie up a ribbon and put the coasters on the top, kind of remove them from inside, and just put the needles and whatnot into the tin already when you're giving the present. I want to show you my favorite. It's this. It's a souvenir that I brought, and I also bought a couple of extra for my friends because I realized that these were excellent for these kinds of notions. And it has this sliding inlet which kind of closes really tightly, and it's nice. And it's the only problem is that it's a bit narrow, or how do you say, so that it's thin, so that you can't really fit very thick things in there. But I still have my scissors. I have some stitch markers. I even have a tape measure, just this kind of very old-fashioned tape measure in here. Oh my god, that has been with me for ages, since I've been something like, I don't know, 18. And then you can add in something like a row counter. I've put this row counter into a slit through stitch marker so that I can hang it to the needle in between the stitches. So something like that. That might be a nice gift, both to make and to receive, because then you can kind of play around with things, what you put in there and whatnot. Well, what else? Well, something that knitters really need in their little project bags or backpacks or whatnot. And it's the first aid kit. Because who wants to quit knitting for a tiny little cut or, a split in their nail or something? Those are just so tedious, either because, you need some help, or your hands are dry, or, you have a split in your nail or something, and that really gets caught up into all little yarn threads. So a little pouch, or you can make one if you're very crafty. You can put in some band-aids. You can put in some, maybe choose your favorite hand cream, lotion. And because you don't want your hair to get into the way, maybe you can find some bling bling hair thingies or pins that, if your friend has long hair, they can totally appreciate that too. And then for those nails, a nail file, some kind of a nail file that that they would appreciate. Maybe you can cut it shorter so that you can fit it in there. This is one of my favorites. I remember getting this and it was really nice because it's this glass one. It has a bit of a bling bling. I don't know if you can see it at the end. I keep it really tightly somewhere else because then in the bathroom, it's always in my project bag. Because somebody told me when I received it that they normally break when you have them in your bathroom and you drop it and it hits the sink. So I don't even put it anywhere close there. Okay, so a first aid thingy for your friend, a little pouch, and you can choose the things that you want in there. Just make it look like your friend. Then the next idea, buy patterns. Buy patterns from small designers, from the style that your friend already likes, or surprise them. Make it a hat, a pair of mittens, whatnot. Just, buy a pattern and then think about how your friend can receive it. You can buy the pattern, for example, from your local store. Here is one that I just also gifted to someone in Ravelry and then purchased it myself. It's the Villapesutee September challenge. It's a shawl called Uumen from Jonna Jolkin, a Finnish designer, and it's beautiful. And when you buy the pattern, if you gift it in the Ravelry, you can also send a message, or then you can even look at their wish list in Ravelry or wherever they, have their patterns. Or I know that many knitters, hold on, let me get this pile from here. Oopsie. Many knitters also like to make notes. So maybe you want to gift your friend, a notebook with the pattern inside. So that maybe you print it out and you put it into the notebook. Or you, for example, write down into the front of the book something like a tip for knitting or whatever. Some of my favorites here. One time I received a notebook that had a beautiful poem that she had written into the book before she gave it to me. And it was really a poem with a story that touched my heart. And every time that I use that book, sometimes I go back for a reference or something, I remember that. So put a pattern somewhere where they like it. Then yarn, always yarn. And I'm going to show you a couple of Finnish yarns. I just got this wonderful parcel this week from this, I have the store, the online store written here. So it's in Finnish we say kässäpuoti, and they sell Finnish yarns. For example, these. This is Kehrätär, is the name of the yarn, or the name of the yarn is Lieko, and it's 100% Finnish wool, and it's made with an artist, designer Maisa Tikkanen. And I'm thinking that maybe I should make the Uumen shawl out of these, but because can you see how this one has kind of like these green and brown and these earth tones, and then this is kind of even pink or purple and lilac or something in there. So maybe because the shawl has really thin stripes of each kind of repeating, maybe they won't work so well together. For this one, I will save them, totally treasure them for something else. But then I also at the same time ordered from the same kässäpuoti this Vuonue Wilhelmi yarn. And this one is Burgundy. And this one is medium gray. They're beautiful. They're sock yarns. They have not plastic. They are 70% Finnish lamb wool, but then there is 30% of tencel. So that's a plant fiber. I don't know how is it made. Maybe somebody knows. But anyhow, no plastic and really beautiful colors. And I think these would work beautiful in that shawl. So I think I'm going for these after I get earlier goof up fixed from the Villapesutee t-shirt, because I know that if I leave that as it is now, I will not return it very quickly. So I want to fix that before I make these into cakes and start with a shawl. Oh, by the way, this that I'm wearing now, where do I have it? It's called Keeping Betsy Warm. And it's by Graceman Original. You can find it in Ravelry. I bought it in the indie campaign before Christmas. Indie designer campaign. What is that campaign over here? Somebody's shouting at me now through the screen and probably telling me what it is. I don't remember. But anyhow, Keeping Betsy Warm. And I love it. It's kind of like this very simple design, but it's warm. I like to wear it on top of just a black shirt or something. I can take it to work and I can, you know, just remove it. And if it gets too hot, and it's just really, really comfortable. Totally can vouch for this pattern. Okay, where were we? Gift knitting. Oh, that's also a nice pattern to gift to someone. Okay, and then another idea, if you want to give your friend, for example, one long skein of yarn that makes a shawl, or a skein of yarn that makes a pair of socks, or, you know, something that you already kind of have an idea what that would become. I can't speak anymore today. Let's take a bit of wine. Last time that I recorded, my old phone got stuck. Apparently the 30 minutes that I recorded took out all the space and then some that the phone had left. So it was stuck for 7 hours before we somehow removed the video and whatnot. It took another 7 hours for me to put it online, post it online, and then I thought at that point that that's the end of my YouTubing career. But here we are. Bear with me. I hope you are having some nice beverage too, maybe tea, coffee, something there, and just enjoying knitting. But look at this yarn. This is from our local store, Lankapiika. It's a very, very thin yarn. I think it's 1,500 meters in 150 grams. And it's 100% wool. And what happened? Oh, something loaded. Sorry, something loaded on my computer. It's going to start screaming.
Hey.
Oh. An upload of the Finnish podcast. Sorry. If I know how to do this, I will edit that out. So let's take a face, like very calm face for a moment. So this yarn that you could also think of for your friend as a gift is 150 grams, but was it 1,500 meters? So it's really, really thin lace yarn. It's from Shawl and it's lace flower. And it says in a tag, knitting can be addictive. Don't we know it? And if you gift something like this, what you could also do is also add into the gift the needle, maybe something like, I don't know, 24 inches, the size that this requires, and maybe the pattern, if you find a nice shawl pattern or something for this. And that's a nice package to give someone. If they don't use that yarn for that exact pattern that you've chosen, that doesn't matter. But they also get the pattern, maybe they use it for something else. So really like that kind of, I don't know if you can see, but there's a bit of like bluish color also in there. Okay, and then what next? Of course, something to put their projects in. And this is, I'm going to start from a very affordable way of doing this. I don't actually know how much of these you have, for example, in US or some other countries. Please comment below if you have these or some other or better ideas. So in Finnish grocery stores, you can buy the fruits in these like, this is a bit like plasticky, but it's like, you can use it many, many, many times. It has like a very, it's like a net, but it's not. I don't know how you would call this material. But they're reusable fruit bags. And these are something that I've purchased from Red Cross online store. You can always, also from here, you can buy them from the grocery stores where they have the fruits. And what I like about them is that they're see-through, so you can see your project. You can hang stuff to this string. So for example, here I have a needle gauge. And then they don't break your needles, at least, well, don't, count on that, because if you have thin needles and whatnot. But most of my needles have just kind of poked through if there has been that kind of a situation where that happens. But still, the bag doesn't get broken. And you can wash them. You can toss them into the washer and reuse them and wash them and whatnot. So I like those. You can always also make a package to your friend and kind of maybe put some stitch markers into that string or whatever you want to put into that. Then other project bags. And these are my treasures. This is something that my son made for me when he was a 6th grader. So he made this in the craft class because it's compulsory in Finland. Everybody takes craft. So even the boys learn to knit and crochet and sew and whatnot. So he made me this bag. And when he saw how happy I was with this and how much I used it everywhere, on the 7th grade, he made me another one. So these two are really my favorites. This one I've not been using so much because it's white and I'm always afraid that I will just get it so dirty somewhere. But look at the yarn skeins on it. He made those with kind of, it's like different fabric put on top of the white fabric and then just zigzagging, I think. Don't tell him that I don't know, but I have no idea. He's put some outside pockets here on the back, different sizes. And then he's also put a big pocket inside where I can put stuff. Let me put the stuff that I have here, the yarns at least, here, so that we can get some room here onto the table. Lovely. It could fit a ton more, so I can go shopping for more yarn. And then, of course, if you can, and if your friend really likes project bags, and of course, if you can sew them yourself, if you are crafty like that, please do, because those are the best presents if one gets a present that is made by someone. This is my treasure that I mentioned in an earlier episode. Amy Beth from the Fat Squirrel Speaks podcast. She is, I think, a person who grounds me. I can just watch her for hours and hours. And she makes these project bags. And in every episode, if she has a shop update coming, she tells you about the different fabrics and everything. And I've always watched those and thought that, oh, I can't order something all the way from US. It will be such a hassle. And then last spring at some point, I think it was March or something, she pulled my name in a drawer where for the Patreons of the podcast. And she was sending me some wonderful kitchen towels that she had made. And I decided that, hey, she needs to send those, or I need to get involved in this. I'm going to order a bag and I'm going to pay for the, for the bag to come over, and she can just put the towels in there or wherever. And I love this bag because it's big. It's from her. I always think of her when I'm knitting from this. And then she talks a lot about her garden, all the successes and sometimes small failures in the gardening life. And I love it how it has these garden items, carrots and thyme and overalls and all of that on there. So a different type of a treasure compared to my bags that my son made. Okay, let me look at my list. What else was there that needs to be remembered? Okay, here's another one. Timer. You can either combine the timer to, for example, the first aid kit or to a project bag or whatever you give your friend, because we all know that one more row and then we turn into a skeleton. So give your friend a card that says, please don't turn into a skeleton. Remember to get up every hour or so they can turn this on and it at least chimes after 60 minutes. And if they realize, they can at least jump up for a moment and then continue knitting. So that's just a fun idea to put in there. Okay. And then for some maybe a bit more expensive, but then real treasures. This one I showed you last time quickly because I made something notes about color work. So it's the Sanni Lehtinen yarn guide that is called Lankapiika. And there is a very similar product in Finland for this, another goldsmith, Pinjo Design. I will link her ring, which looks like a bit of like a fox with like the fox ears, and you can put 2 yarns there. This one holds 4, but in the Pinjo Design one, you can it holds 2, but then you can have two threads going on the side. So I'll put a picture here. And then this one I received also as a gift. So my friend gave this to me, and also that makes it a treasure for me. You know how that goes. My friend Satu gave this to me a couple years back, and it's really, really something that I think about also when I'm knitting and using that one. Okay, what else? Let me look at my list. Well, then there are all kinds of things that you can buy. So for example, a yarn swift or sock blocker or whatnot. And I think the main idea here is that you actually think about the receiver and put some effort into how you choose the parts that you put into the present. That's how it goes. But for me then, to thank the people who have helped me, it has been weird, really, because I thought before starting this podcasting that it would be something that people would go like, why are you doing that? Or, you know, what the heck? And it's really my way of, you know, talking about the crafting and knitting and whatnot. And there's just a limit to how much my family or my friends can take in of, hey, look at this sock. Hey, another sock. Hey, look, I made a sock of 3 colors. So at least here I can just vent out with that. But then for people to be so kind of overwhelmingly kind, there were a couple of people who noticed from the first episode that there was no chance for anyone to comment because I had marked something like child content for children or something. And I thought that you have to do that. But then they informed me, you have to, you know, unclick that so that people can comment. And they actually went and found me in Instagram to get the message through to me. And there was not one person, but at least 2 or 3 people who did that. Some people have sent me messages on editing ideas or editing tools. If you have those, please keep them coming. I'm still in trouble with that. I have not found a good editing program yet. I would like to have it on my PC. I don't have a Mac, so it's a Windows 10 computer. So if you know an editing tool other than the one that Windows already has, which is the video editor, that would be one-time pay or free. I would be glad to get that one. I don't want to have a monthly subscription for anything that I don't know if I end up using it or not. But anyhow, I wanted to thank the people. So what I wanted to do is draw a name from all of these people that have helped or commented on these 2 first episodes that already came out, or, you know, contacted me in any way and just, you know, gave me some tips or something. So what I did is I decided to give them this prize. And that is also Pinjo Design. It is called Kehrätär, which is handy. And it's a silver spiral jewelry that you can combine your, for example, your knitted shawl with. So that when you have a triangular shawl or something and you want to combine it in the middle and just kind of get it so that it stays, you just kind of just twist that kätevä in there and the shawl stays in place and it's a beautiful jewelry there. And I drew a name in the Finnish podcast for this, and that name was Päivi, and I will send Päivi, who is also Päivi's Crafts, and she also has a podcast, and she was one of those people who kindly contacted me to let me know that I needed to change something in the settings to get the comments going. So Päivi will get the kätevä. Congratulations and thank you. Okay, what else? I think that's mainly it for this time. I told what I'm wearing. I told about the prizes and the things. And thank you for being here. And if you've been here this far, thank you so much. Well, I hope you have an excellent week, whether it's now a weekend or your weekend after. I really hope you have been inspired by wool and knits and all the cozy fibers and are having a wonderful fall. Okay, stay healthy and stay safe. See you again in the next podcasts. Oh my goodness, it's getting dark and I'm still here. Of course, I forgot something, and it is the suggestions for good podcasts. So this time there is a Finnish podcast who also podcasts in English, and then there's an English one. So these are my suggestions for you. So there's Ruotsin suomalaisittain neulo, and then there's she also has it in English. It's Almiel. And then there's Cocktail Hour at the Coop. They're crazy, but they're wonderful. And Leanne was the one, it was Leanne, not Liz. Leanne was the one who also designed the Rhinebeck logo a couple of years back. And I just actually went back, I think it was last weekend, I rewatched that episode from 2 years ago where they are in Rhinebeck. I just needed to watch a video from the normal time where people were gathering and enjoying the time together, and they're at their Rhinebeck house and they're going around in Rhinebeck and just enjoying everything there. Yeah. But anyhow, I highly suggest these podcasts this time, and I hope you follow them. And my hope is that if you have a podcast, please enter it down below into the comments. We want to know about all knitting podcasts, don't we? Okay, talk to you soon. Hi.